Are numb hands ruining your rides? Whether you're a seasoned pro or a casual cyclist, numb hands are a common issue. In fact, one study reports that 31% of cyclists experience some form of hand pain while riding. I want you to be able to ride without the nagging pain in your hands so you can increase your endurance and ability to ride longer distances without discomfort. So in this video, I'm going to show you one simple fix that any level of cyclist can do easily to reverse numb hands, even while riding. But first, let me explain who I am and how I learned this technique. Hi, I'm Daman, a cycling coach with over a decade of experience and 30 plus years of riding a bike. I've coached World Tour riders, represented Australia at the World Championships, and consulted with top scientists and performance heads from World Tour teams. Earlier this year, I was lying in bed with some pain in my leg. Now, we all know the ache in the legs from riding bikes, but this was definitely different. It was a new sensation that ran from my glutes all the way down to my feet and only on one side, so not a normal leg ache. So I started to hunt around and I found out that it's this thing called sciatica. And sciatica is when the nerve is trapped and then you feel the pain from that all the way down the leg. And it's very similar to a very common way that people get numb hands. I needed to fix it and approached it like I do any problem with the athletes that I coach. By knowing my limits, I'm not a doctor, and by finding the best resources possible. I went deep into the information, consulting scientific papers and talking to professionals in the field. And after much trial and error, I discovered a technique that changed everything for me. It not only helped me overcome the uncertainty and pain, but also got me back to 100%. Now, I'm definitely empowered with the knowledge to treat it whenever it flares up again, but it didn't end there. I was out on a ride not long after fixing my leg when my left hand went numb. So instead of the more common ways to fix it, I tried this new technique right there on the spot, and it worked. So I went into another deep dive and found that it's actually a really safe way to fix numb hands. But there are many videos on this topic, but none using this specific approach. And that's why I'm sharing this with you. Now, I know there can be a lot of causes for numb hands. Just check all of these out. But based on the available evidence, it appears to be a safe, effective treatment for reducing nerve-related pain and enhancing mobility. The technique is called nerve flossing or nerve gliding. And I was thinking of ways to show you how it works. And I was thinking that the best is having an inner and outer cable, but I don't have any cables on my bike. So here's my daughter's bike. And you can think of the inner cable as your nerve and the outer cable as the sheath that holds the nerve. And if you were to just stretch the inner cable, you won't get very far, or you won't change it much. And actually, it might make it worse by aggravating it. But by gently moving the nerves back and forth within their sheaths, it promotes better circulation and reduces tension. We can do it for any nerve really, but we are going to focus on the median nerve and the ulnar nerve. Both are specific to holding a handlebar and have some evidence for their effectiveness. But before we get into the exercises, let's quickly cover why numbness happens. It occurs due to the nerve pathway compression or restricted circulation to the nerve. And there are two broad categories of nerve compression. The first one is carpal tunnel syndrome, compression of the median nerve in your wrist, often from holding the handlebars and getting road vibrations causing hand numbness. The second one is nerve pathway compression. And this is compression from the forearm, from the elbow, from the shoulder or the neck, leading to numbness. While a proper bike fit can help this, long rides and road conditions and trunk stability can still cause numb hands. Nerve gliding exercises are all about helping maintain nerve mobility and reducing compression. There might be some other ways to treat other areas impacting the nerve, But as I found out with sciatica, the sciatic nerve can be compressed 4 different ways. So if you're going to treat yourself, there is a chance that you might get it wrong. That's because nerves in the arm go from one end to the other, and we can move the nerve up and down like a string to make your symptoms less severe. And the thing we don't want to do is stretch the nerve, as that will make it angry. And this includes stretching fingers and wrists. Also, periodically shaking out the hands to restore circulation may be of some help, but it's only a short-term fix. Instead, we're going to move the nerve, but keep it relatively the same length. And you have 3 different nerves in your arm, but the most common cause of numbness is the compression of the ulnar or the median nerve. So how do we do these things? Well, the first one we're going to do is the ulnar nerve floss. And it is, so these 2 fingers and then the outside here. So it's as simple as putting these 2 fingers together, the thumb and the index finger, and then keeping your arm and elbow up at 90 degrees. And you'll feel the stretch when you bring it in and you're twisting around like you're trying to make binoculars. But man, it's been a while since I've tried to do this, and maybe I need to do more work on it. Look, okay, so that's it. That's 1 rep. And this is where you're creating the tension, when you're in this move here, turning it under. Eventually, it would be nice to get that guy right up there, but that's going to need a bit more work. But this is the movement for the ulnar nerve. Now, the median nerve, we are dealing with this side, these 3 fingers down in here. So the idea is, now you can put your arm up, and it's the stretch down, so pulling that away, that's moving the nerve up and down, up and down. If you wanted to increase that, so you need to stretch it out a little bit more because you're not really feeling that, that's when you actually are moving the head alongside it. So the head is stretching it all the way down. And you will also really feel that as well, depending on how tight you are. You can see that both of these are possible on the bike while riding, or just would take a quick stop to be safe. At first, try for 10 reps each, and you want to really be careful because this could irritate the nerve. And to know if it's the best option for you, like if it's really working, do this smaller amount and see how it feels later on in the day or the next day. And if you respond well, then you might lift the volume next time. And then you continue from there. And of course, if it's more serious, something like cyclist palsy where symptoms persist, it's important to consult a healthcare professional. I know from personal experience that numb hands can be frustrating, or any nerve pain for that matter, especially if you've had a bike fit and it still happens. But with these tools, you have the options to try while out on the road and hopefully can keep on riding further. The thing is though, everything I just told you is completely useless because there's still things that if you don't fix them, everything I've told you will be a waste of time. Things like the best way to pedal. If that sounds like you, there's things that you can do to really speed up your progress. So watch this video next to understand this important skill.